The term perfect competition refers to a theoretical market structure. Although perfect competition rarely occurs in real-world markets, it provides a useful model for explaining how supply and demand affect prices and behavior in a market economy. Under perfect competition, there are many buyers and sellers, and prices reflect supply and demand. Companies earn just enough profit to stay in business and no more. If they were to earn excess profits, other companies would enter the market and drive profits down. In a perfect competition model, there are no monopolies. This kind of structure has a number of key characteristics, including all firms sell an identical product. The product is a commodity or homogeneous. All firms are price takers, so they cannot influence the market price of their products. Market share has no influence on prices. Buyers have complete or perfect information in the past, present, and future about the product being sold and the prices charged by each firm. Capital resources and labor are perfectly mobile, and firms can enter or exit the market without cost. This can be contrasted with the more realistic imperfect competition, which exists whenever a market, hypothetical or real, violates the abstract principles of neoclassical pure or perfect competition. A perfectly competitive market is defined by the following factors. First, we have a large and homogeneous market. There is a large number of buyers and sellers in a perfectly competitive market. The sellers are small firms instead of large corporations capable of controlling prices through supply adjustments. They sell products with minimal differences in capabilities, features, and pricing. This ensures that buyers cannot distinguish between products based on physical attributes such as size or color, or intangible values such as branding. Secondly, there is perfect information availability. Information about an industry's ecosystem and competition constitutes a significant advantage. For example, knowledge about component sourcing and supplier pricing can make or break the market for certain companies. The availability of free and perfect information in a perfectly competitive market ensures that each firm can produce its goods or services at exactly the same rate and with the same production techniques as another one in the market. We also have absence of controls. Governments play a vital role in market formation for products by imposing regulations and price controls. They can control the entry and exit of firms into a market by setting up rules to function in the market. For example, the pharmaceutical industry has to contend with a roster of rules pertaining to the development, production, and sale of drugs. Such controls do not exist in a perfectly competitive market. The entry and exit of firms in such a market are unregulated, and this frees them up to spend on labor and capital assets without restrictions and adjust their output in relation to market demands. Cheap and efficient transportation. Cheap and efficient transportation is another characteristic of perfect competition. In this type of market, companies do not incur significant costs to transport goods. This helps reduce the product's price and cuts back on delays in transporting goods. Some of the pros of perfect competition is that it demonstrates a convenient framework for modeling market activity. It also demonstrates how producers are incentivized to provide lower prices. There are no barriers to entry, so existing firms cannot derive any monopoly power. Only normal profits made, so producers just cover their opportunity cost. And there is also maximum choice for consumers. As for the cons, the perfect competition model does not always reflect real-world market conditions. The model does not account for geographical differences or variations between products. The model does not account for how producers benefit from economies of scale. And there is no incentive to develop new technology because of the perfect knowledge and the ability to share all of the information. As mentioned earlier, perfect competition is a theoretical construct and doesn't actually exist. As such, it is difficult to find real-life examples of perfect competition. However, there are variants present in everyday society. In produce, consider the situation at a farmer's market, a place characterized by a large number of small buyers and sellers. There is typically little differentiation between products and their prices from one farmer's market to another. How the produce is grown does not matter unless they are classified as organic, and there is very little difference in how they are packaged or branded. In supermarkets, the situation may also be relatively similar in the case of two competing supermarkets, which stock their aisles from the same set of companies. The difference between the two is that one is a Again, there is little to distinguish the products from one another between both supermarkets, and their pricing remains almost the same. With knockoffs, product knockoffs are generally priced similarly and there is little to differentiate them from one another. If one of the firms manufacturing such a product goes out of business, it is simply replaced by another one. Perfect competition describes an imaginary market condition where all consumers have access to the same products and information. In this type of economy, all firms must offer the lowest price possible or risk being undercut by their competitors. Although this is only a theoretical model, perfect competition is useful for demonstrating how economic actors behave in a free market. Thank you for watching. If you like my content, please subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.
Created using Powtoon.